Hey, this is Scott, and today we're going to talk about a few of these different flash modifiers side by side. If this is your first time to this channel, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. So all of these modifiers we're looking at today are from Elinchrom, and I'm going to be using them on Elinchrom strobes, but the same principles and the same general idea should apply to any modifiers of similar size and shape. Of course, the materials they use and the quality of the diffusion and everything like that might have a small effect on the outcome, but basically you'll get the idea. Also, I just want to say thank you to Take Online Shop for supplying the Deep Octa for today's review. I highly recommend them if you're in Japan and looking for anything photography or videography related. I've got a lot of my stuff from them, all of my Elinchrom stuff, and a bunch of other stuff as well. I'll put their link on screen now and down in the description below. Again, if you're in Japan, I would highly recommend them. They're fast with shipping and their customer service is really great. So what I have here today is the Elinchrom Beauty Dish with the white interior, the 135mm Octabox, and the 70mm Deep Octa box. So of course these are all different, but there's also a 100cm version of this Deep Octa, which is closer to the size of this, and also this 135cm Octabox is more shallow than this Deep Octa, as the name suggests. But then also this Deep Octa can be used without this front diffusion or with a reflector like this, but I was curious how it actually compares visually with an actual beauty dish. Of course, this also has a silver interior, this has a white interior, there also is a silver interior version of this, so this is not a complete or perfect test. If you have anything more specific you'd like to see compared, please let me know in the comments below and I will definitely try and do that. Also, these reflectors do come in a couple different finishes. I have here the silver and the white. There's also a gold and a semi-transparent version available, which I do have, but I often just use the silver, so this is not going to be an exhaustive test, but again, if there's something more specific you want to see, then just let me know down in the comments below. So I have a model here today, and I'm just going to do a couple of different setups. Obviously, some of these setups are going to be more suited towards one of these modifiers or another, but I'm going to try and put them all side by side in each of those setups just to see how they look compared to each other. But there's unlimited number of setups you could use these in. I'm not going to go for anything overly complicated. I'm probably just going to use one light, so don't look at the overall quality of the pictures because I would put a lot more effort into them if it wasn't just for comparative purposes. But for today, we're just going to see how these look side by side. I will try and make another video like this with some more situations, maybe a male model or something like that. So again, just let me know what you want to see and I will try to put that together. Okay, so first we're going to try a typical kind of beauty setup when this is usually where you would use a beauty dish. So I'm going to start with the beauty dish and I'll try with the grid on and without the grid. And then I'll try it with the other two Octaboxes. A little down and a little. 1, 2, 3. So one big problem with this setup is, as this is really large, using the reflector, you're getting the reflection from every angle inside here. And actually we're dealing with a lot more light spill onto the background, as you'll see in the pictures. So obviously I wouldn't use this in this particular setup, but if you're further away from the background, it might not be as much of a problem, or if you flag it or something somehow, but with this large of a light source, it's going to be a little bit difficult to avoid that. Okay, so now we're going to try a little bit of a different setup, just using this kind of black brick wall behind her. I'm going to light her with the light on the side, and I'm going to feather it away so you get kind of the softest area of light from the edge of that softbox. I have the large octabox on this side, which is what I usually use for this kind of setup, and I have a reflector on the other side here just to cut down on some of the shadow. So let's just see how it looks. I'll just tilt this good. So now I have the 70 centimeter Deep Octa here, and I have it in exactly the same position as before. I might end up moving it a little bit closer just to see how it looks, because I do want a soft light here, and at this distance it's kind of small, so we'll take a few at this position and then move it closer and see how that looks. Alright, so now I have the beauty dish on here, and I have the sock on it to get it a little bit softer. I currently inside here have the silver reflector on, and just as a side note, if you are using the sock or even the grid on here, if you take the little knob off of this part, which is right here, usually you can screw it in to here. If you take the knob off, then you can fit the grid or the sock on here without interfering, because usually this knob sticks out too far and you can't fit the grid on with this knob still on there. Okay, for our last setup for now, we're going to use a typical kind of Rembrandt lighting where you have it at a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to start off with the beauty dish, and I like a little bit of a soft light for me personally in this setup, so I'm going to put the sock on it and I will compare it to the other two with the diffusion on. So as I expected, the larger light source will wrap around your subject more. So with this one, we got a really nice spread of light across her face. I think for a woman, it works a lot better. Maybe for a man, the beauty dish or a smaller modifier could look better with the little bit harder and darker shadows. But in this case, I would choose this one personally. Okay, so that was obviously far from every possible lighting setup with these lights, but obviously I don't want the video to be extremely long, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of a look for now into what they look like side by side in some situations. As I already mentioned a couple of times, if there's something very specific you do want to see, let me know in a comment and I will try to get that at least in a picture or a future video. Also keep in mind that these pictures were not meant to be the best portraits they could possibly be, but they were just meant to show these modifiers side by side just to see how the light quality differs from one to the other. If you're interested in any of these modifiers, I will put links for them down below, so be sure to check that out. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below and I will get back to you. Give me a thumbs up if you found this video helpful, subscribe if you want to see more in the future, and as always, thanks for watching.